This is an update to the work in progress I'm doing on that Sony BVW75 Betacam SP editing machine. I've got it working a little bit better, but it's still not quite there. So there will be more to come on this. I'm working on this when I get a chance, when I've got some downtime, which I had yesterday and this morning. But I got work coming in, so I got to put it aside and get back on it again when I get a chance. You guys remember a few months back, I was working on the BVW75 and I was getting the tape tension error, so I thought maybe I'd come back and just double check the mechanical setup of this unit, see if there's anything that's still sticking. So we'll remove the elevator. I've already removed the screws for it. Now this unit will play, it just won't fast forward or rewind because it comes up with a tape tension error. And occasionally the tape gets stuck, and I'm thinking it's got to do with this guide here. This guide pulls out to pull the tape back like that as it's threading. And on eject, sometimes it sticks. And it is controlled by this little cam down here, and I think this little cam down here is probably where the sticking is. Just a little slow coming back. Just doesn't seem to snap back like it should. So we're going to just see if there's lubricant dried up on this gear down here. Something is holding this up. I think it's probably right in here. Move that tape sensor out of the way, and I guess the next thing is we'll pop these clips off. You know, this light is great except for anything reflective. It shines right in my eyes and it just drives me crazy. Okay, this piece will lift off, I think, like that. I'll take this clip off and take this piece off. Oops, that had a spring on it. Put that back on. Put this one. This is the one I think might be sticking a bit here. It just doesn't seem to move as freely as I think it should. So we'll pop that clip off and see if I can get some lubricant into here, because I think that one's sticking a bit. If I lift off this guide, does that come off? That should lift out, that screw. And that will let me pull this portion of the guide out so that I can get to this piece and remove it and clean it up, because the grease in here is turned to glue, or damn close to it. What is that little pin? Is that something that's broken? I know I'm going to hear the comment saying this is how all VCR should be made, with metal chassis. And metal chassis don't help things when you've got dissimilar metals. Pretty gummed up. Such as aluminum and steel. You get a chemical reaction that takes place, and with the lubricant that they used, they just get bound up like this. Yeah, that's pretty gummed up. That's certainly an area of problems. It's put a little oil in here. Put this back on there. There, that's a little better. Now it doesn't stick anymore. Okay, that part looks okay. I'm going to put this clip back on. I gotta see where this plastic pin that was just lying there. What did it come from? This piece, which is lying there on the chassis. I don't know what that came off of. Did it break off of something? Okay, I'm sure the hole on here lines up with that hole down there. So let's just pop this back on. Right in the cam. But where did this plastic piece come from? That plastic piece came from something. Oh, I bet it was on top of this. That's where it was. That is broken off of there. Let's see if I can stick that back on somehow. So this piece, now that I've glued the pin back on, that was just lying inside the chassis. This goes on here. It sits like that and rides in this track. There, like that. I put the two clips back on top of it, and then we'll try this out again and see whether it operates any differently. In other words, is it still going to come up with that tape tension error? See, that's the pin that was snapped off and which is lying in the base here. Cool, where'd it go? Where did that piece go? Oh, straight down there. Grab it with the magnet. I'm going to run the mechanism through by hand just to watch how everything works before I put the tape elevator back in place. Okay, that pulls up into place and it locks in behind this pin. Okay, that locks into place like this. That completes the loading cycle, so we'll just take it back the other way now and unload it. Okay, that pin holds that in place. That seems to work okay. Try putting the elevator back in and see whether you get any different results. I'm still getting my tape tension error message. If I hit play, the tape will play. Only if I've got it in dynamic tracking mode though, which is weird. But I can't fast forward or do anything, it'll just stop. All I can do is play. It won't reverse and it won't fast forward due to a tape tension error. Probably have to calibrate this. I'll have to look up some data on this to see exactly how this one gets taken care of. The only way I can get the tape out of here is if I shut it off and turn it back on. It should eject the tape. Just like that. This is not eating. So I've fixed the mechanism as far as the loading goes, because it was jamming the tape set before. I have a feeling that that little pin that was broken off and was lying down there, and this guide that was seized up down here, and well, the other guides that were completely frozen before, which I fixed the last time I looked at it, that was a big factor in the tape threading. Now I just got to figure out where this error 6 tape tension error is coming from. And then I could have another Betacam SP deck. This one will record standard oxide tape as well in Betacam as well as SP. But this is a real fancy editor with dynamic tracking. I'd love to get this one working. Figured while I was at it, I'll fix this. The jog shuttle control is really loose. So maybe if I pull this faceplate off, I can put the screws back in that sound like they've fallen out. Yeah, they definitely sound like something's fallen out of here. But there's more screws on the top that's got to come out, right? Yep, 3 more screws on the top. I need to remove, and I can remove the front panel. Probably have all the little switches fall out on me. But this needs to be fixed, because that's used for menu settings. Well, one of the screws had fallen out and 2 of them are just loose. So the one that fell out should be here somewhere. I heard it rattling around inside here. Where'd it go? There it is. Right there. I've tightened the control back in place. We're going to put the cover back on.
line up all the switches. And put the screws back in. So I think I'm going to set this one aside again. I've spent way too much time on this one, going through all the procedures in the service manual, and I'm still coming up with the same thing. I'm getting a tape tension error. It threads up, the unit actually even plays, but I get a tape, error 06, tape tension error. And of course, once that happens, I can't fast forward or rewind or anything. It won't. It'll only play. Now, the kicker to this is, if I load a tape and go into rewind or fast forward, then it will rewind it. So if I shut the machine off, turn the machine on, take the tape out, if I freshly load the tape and hit fast forward, for example, the unit will fast forward. No problem. Fast forward all the way to the end. For that matter, I can hit rewind. It'll rewind. No problem. If I go into play, I get my error 6 tape tension error on the display panel. Right, if I were to stop it, again, shut it off, turn it back on, it'll go through the load unload cycle. It'll unload the tape. Hit rewind now. It'll rewind the tape all the way to the beginning. Oh, I got my tape. I got my tension error this time. Usually that doesn't happen. I can go to play. It'll play fine. Got it rethread. Fast forward. Okay. Hit rewind. Now it'll rewind. Rewind all the way back to the beginning. As you can see. But if I put it in stop, or I put it in play, it will just come up with an error. So when it gets back to the beginning and stops, this will show error 6. Okay, and there we go, tape tension error. I'm pretty much kind of stumped on this one. I don't know if anybody is watching knows anything about these BVW75s and what adjustment might be out. I serviced the mechanism. This one was just completely gummed up, and it might be this tension regulator that needs to be replaced. I've seen others where they change this whole block that the tension regulator's on. There's a servo down here. There's a pickup down here that detects the tension, and I mean, it's free. This one is not in any way binding. I'll just eject the tape. Now, when I got this machine, this was completely seized up. It wouldn't move, this tension arm, as was this one. This one was completely frozen. So I took this all apart. In fact, they did that on the first examination, and I've just since gone back and have freed up this one, because this one was freed up, or was jamming up a bit. These are all now completely freely moving. There's nothing jamming that I can see, unless I'm missing something, but everything, all the aluminum to steel pivot points are not binding. So I don't know. I'm going to put this one aside. I'll pick it up again if I get any more ideas as to what might be causing it. But I typically work on this thing when I've got nothing else better to do, and I've got stuff coming in now, so I got stuff to do. So this one's going to go back on the back burner for now. But I just wanted to keep you guys up to date on what I'm doing on this, because this one will be when I do want to get this one running. And we'll work on it again when I get some time. Any ideas, throw them in the comments. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.